y'all. You wouldn't believe it, but I am not just in Roanoke, but also in a wow store called Black Dog Salvage.
Right.
And that handsome guy here in front of me is Mike Whiteside.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
And thanks for having us. I had no idea that you are quite famous.
Well, I mean, famous is in between your ears, you know. People say that we are, but we've been around almost 23 years doing what we do now. But we had our reality show, which was on the DIY network for 8 years, called Salvage Dawgs, and it just kind of showed the exploits of us, our dynamics, what it takes to do a salvage job, and then we also had a upcycle portion where we would build a piece of furniture or something for one of our guests or one of our clients with what we pulled out of the houses.
I heard.
So then that's really kind of what we do. That's our main.
Wasn't there also a time that you did barns?
We've done barns, we've done airplanes, boats, just
you name it.
We didn't hold ourselves down. We just, if it looked fun and we could pull some stuff out that we could reuse, we did it.
Okay, Mike, I came across Black Dog Salvage through the Liberty Trust Hotel where we are staying in downtown Roanoke. It's a historic place.
Sure it is.
With completely redone rooms, very chic. Can you please tell us what is your part in this
Well,
hotel?
we got a couple of parts that we did. We first off, the Liberty Trust was a bank.
Exactly.
Originally, and then they had offices upstairs. So our first interaction with those guys was to film a salvage operation there.
Never mind, it's okay.
It's okay. We filmed the salvage job there, and so we pulled parts out of it. We had, some like old floor urinals. It doesn't sound that sexy or anything, but we wanted the doors, but the doors are copper clad.
They're unbelievable. They're gorgeous.
So we also took out 2 safe doors, not the main safe, but 2 side safes that are out right now, and saved it for the guys who were doing the build, who wanted to build a keystone piece or a kind of a flagship piece that had reuse all over it, and it was the doors. And if you've taken a picture of that while you're staying there, you'll see that
which we did.
If you look at it, it's a Yale door, but if you scroll in, it's got a lot of tooling and everything. And so they commissioned us to build them a piece of furniture.
Now who was working with you? This must have been a huge, heavy job.
Well, we had if you've ever seen our show, there's 5 of us.
Okay.
And we really do all the work.
And all 5 of you guys were working on this project at the Liberty?
Correct, yeah. And so it was 5. It was Robert Culp, myself, Mike Whiteside, my son Taylor Whiteside, who worked with us. He's been working with me since he was 12 years old. And then Grayson Goldsmith, who was our female associate, so to speak. And she was so sweet. But she worked with us, and then we had Ted Ayers, who was kind of comic relief, but a real hard worker, and he had his own way about him. So it's just us, just 5 of us to do the job, and it has been since. I mean, we bring some people in and out, but like you say, we've been in business for almost 23 years now.
What's your life now after the show?
Well, basically, it's the same life I had before the show without the show, because the show just added one more layer of things we had to do.
Yeah.
But it also expanded our reach, because it got underwrote by the network, and so we could go a little farther afield and do stuff that we probably wouldn't have done normally, because salvage is a real regional business. You really can't afford to go too far, and the economics of it don't work if you do, but if you get it underwritten. So right now we're still building, still doing a little bit of salvage. We're going out and picking more than we're salvaging now, because most of it is on the ground. And people have saved this stuff for so long, and I could show you pieces around the building here that were found pieces, not salvaged pieces.
Yeah.
And it really makes a difference. So we're still doing what we were doing before, but without all the work that it took to do the show.
Now, you have 2 locations. We obviously are here in your main building.
We call this the showroom, and in the basement we have the shops where we do all the woodwork and metalwork. And then this again is we call the marketplace, more found finished items. And then on the other side of the building, we call it the salvage side. That's where it's all reused materials that you can use. We have a door section that wouldn't believe how many doors we sell.
Yes.
And then we have the warehouse, which is a mile from here. We had to have a warehouse to bring the stuff in.
That's what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
So somebody who is building and wants this special crazy touch in there comes to your salvage location?
They come here and give us a task. I'm looking for a keystone piece, a door or a transom or a piece of stained glass, or a custom-made piece of furniture. Because a lot of times you can't find the size furniture you want, and it doesn't really have much of a story. Everything we build has a story. Which
now,
is fun.
there are hundreds of thousands of items. They categorized. How do you do this?
Well, we give everything now because before it was just shooting from the hip.
Yeah.
Hey, what's that cost? I don't know. Give me $5. Probably about 8 years ago, we put in a system where everything that comes in, we give it a number.
Okay.
And we give it a price.
Then you know where it is, where to find it.
We hope we know where it is.
Oh, exactly.
Sometimes they hide or they were sold under another number. It's human error.
Yes.
Good stuff in, good stuff out, and vice versa. If you put in the right information, you'll be able to use it.
Yes.
But everybody going like, you know where everything is, you know what price is. Well, it didn't happen by accident. You had to start somewhere, and now everything that's in this building pretty much is priced.
Yes. So after the show,
Yep.
in retrospect, it must have been a very exciting time. Everybody knew you. Everybody who watched the show, I should say.
Well, I'd love to think that everybody watched it, but there's a lot of people that still today
Yes.
are discovering our show.
Well, listen, I was 17 years on the air in New York, and when I go to Long Island, my old home, Montauk, everybody knows Ingrid on Long Island. There is a very good chance.
Well, I'm going to drop your name next time I'm out there.
There you go.
My daughter lives in Brooklyn, so I get to go
there you
see
go.
her. She's a glass blower. She was on our show, matter of fact.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So you got the kids, everybody involved.
Whoever wanted to be on it, I made it available.
So what was the most fun aspect of your show?
I like for me it was the search, the hunt.
Yeah.
And then the best part for me was the builds, because
Yeah.
I get to use my creative brain.
Yeah.
And that's where I live. I don't live on a straight edge. I live on a very uneven space, and that's where my creative.
Boy, this
comes
sounds so much like me.
in. Yeah.
Mike, listen, it was so wonderful that we were allowed to just walk in here and you say, of course, come on, let's sit down.
You got to be available, and I'm always here pretty much. This is what I do for a living.
Great.
And I just love talking to folks. That most everybody that comes in these days has seen the show,
Yes.
but it's not a prerequisite. And if you haven't seen the show, it's on Magnolia now, but it's also on Discovery Plus, so you can get all of it still.
Okay, and I assume probably we can watch them on YouTube or...
There's some YouTube. We did a podcast. We started a podcast about 6 months ago, and we're still working on that.
Yes.
There's a lot of how-tos, YouTube pieces. So yeah, you go to YouTube and Google Black Dog. You'll probably find 3 or 4 channels. My son Tay, who was, like I say, worked with us on the show, he's got his company called Lift Art Studios, and it's local. It's a fabrication. He creates a lot of content on YouTube. He's got his own YouTube channel. And then my daughter, her company is called Sticky Glass.
There you go.
Yeah, because it's very sticky when it's in the molten stage.
Yeah, yeah.
And she's on. I don't know if she has a YouTube, but she was just on Blown Away, which was a reality show. So
So it
kind
looks
of got
like
a
it's in the
reality
family.
dynasty going on.
Mike, listen, thanks for having us.
You're welcome.
It
Thanks
was
for
a
taking the
pleasure
time to come
meeting
see
you.
us. Come back and see us.
Thank you.